What if the person living next door was hiding a dark secret? A man whose quiet demeanor masked a twisted reality, one that would plunge an entire community into terror. This is the chilling story of Maury Travis, an ordinary neighbor turned extraordinary monster. How did he manage to evade capture, taunting the very authorities sworn to bring him to justice? Brace yourself as we uncover the horrifying truth lurking behind closed doors. St. Louis, Missouri, October 25, 1965. Maury Travis was born into a world full of bustling streets and tight-knit neighborhoods, but he grew up far from the warmth of community. His childhood, hidden from the view of most, was shaped by the people closest to him, his parents, Sandra and Michael. Raised in the Kerr Square complex, the early years of his life were filled with familiar streets, sounds of neighbors, and the comforting routine of everyday life. But that would all change. At the age of 11, Travis and his family would leave the crowded city, moving to the quieter suburbs of Ferguson. Ferguson was supposed to be a fresh start, a place where his family could enjoy a peaceful life away from the noise and turmoil of the city. But in the quiet of suburbia, Maury began to slip into himself, becoming a shadow of the curious child he once was. Frequent school changes made it difficult for him to settle. His name rarely appeared in school yearbooks, almost as if he was trying to stay hidden. As he drifted further into isolation, a dark side started to emerge. At just 13, his thoughts turned to things most wouldn't dare think about. Fascinated by death, he began acting out violent fantasies on animals, a haunting glimpse into what was to come. This was the beginning of something dark, a spark ignited in Maury Travis' young mind that would grow, twist, and fester into a path of unimaginable horror. The early 1980s marked a pivotal moment in Maury Travis' life as he stepped into the armed forces, joining as a medic and dental assistant. It was a chance for him to forge a new identity to serve his country, but adapting to military life proved to be a struggle. While others thrived in the structure and discipline of military life, Travis found himself feeling out of place, wrestling with the demands of a life he wasn't prepared for. The pressures began to weigh heavily on him, pushing him toward a darker path. Seeking a fresh start, Maury enrolled at Morris Brown College in Atlanta. Here, he hoped to find his footing, but instead, he fell into a downward spiral. The excitement of college life quickly gave way to substance abuse, and the high hopes for his future were clouded by addiction. Financial strains mounted as his addiction deepened, leading him to desperate measures. In an attempt to sustain his habit, he resorted to crime, committing a series of robberies. What began as a means to an end spiraled into a life of criminality. But his luck ran out. After several successful heists, Maury was finally identified and arrested. Standing before the court, he pleaded for leniency, a mix of regret and desperation in his eyes, a stark reminder of how far he had fallen from the dreams he once had. This chapter of his life was a turning point, a chaotic journey marked by service, struggle, and a haunting descent into darkness. The late 1980s marked a dark chapter for Maury Travis as he faced the consequences of his actions. Convicted of robbery, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison, a reality that would challenge him both physically and mentally. Behind bars, Maury struggled to find his place. The harsh realities of prison life weighed heavily on him, pushing him into a mental battle that he wasn't prepared for. Isolated from the outside world, he began to reflect on his past choices, seeking a glimmer of hope for the future. In a desperate bid for mercy, he wrote countless letters pleading for a reduced sentence, longing for a second chance. But each letter was met with denial, leaving him feeling more hopeless with each rejection. Despite his pleas, Maury's behavior in prison was far from exemplary. He collected warnings for various infractions, each one a reminder of his struggle to conform to the strict prison rules. Yet, against all odds, he eventually earned his way to parole, a flicker of hope in an otherwise dark existence. Upon his release, Maury was determined to reintegrate into society. Initially, it seemed like a fresh start, but the grip of addiction was relentless. The temptations of the past loomed large, and he soon found himself slipping back into familiar habits. Before long, the cycle of addiction tightened its grip once more. Maury was rearrested for parole violations, a tragic reminder of the battles he faced every day. His story was a heartbreaking reflection of a man caught in a cycle of crime and addiction, unable to escape the shadows of his past. As Maury's journey continued, the struggle to break free from his demons would lead him down an even darker path, one that would ultimately define his life. In the year 2000, Maury Travis moved into a house on Fort Drive, a place that would soon become known as his infamous House of Horrors. To the outside world, it appeared to be just another home-quiet neighborhood, but inside, it was a different story altogether. Travis transformed his basement into a chilling chamber for his heinous crimes, a dark, secret space where his twisted fantasies would come to life. This was not just a hideout, it was a stage for his unspeakable acts. With meticulous planning, he began to target vulnerable women, preying on those who were often overlooked by society. Travis engaged in violent acts, recording his assaults, capturing the horrors that unfolded within those four walls. On the surface, Travis was seen as a quiet, respectful neighbor, someone who blended seamlessly into the fabric of the community. Little did they know, lurking beneath his facade was a man hiding a dark and violent secret. The stark contrast between the public perception of Maury Travis and the reality of his actions created a chilling dissonance. While families enjoyed their lives just a stone's throw away, the House of Horrors remained a hidden nightmare, preparing to unleash terror that would haunt the community forever. Little did they know the horrors that transpired within those walls would soon shake the very foundation of their neighborhood, as the darkness of Travis' crimes began to unravel. In 2001, Maury Travis began a deadly game of cat and mouse with law enforcement, taunting the police with clues that led them closer to his horrific acts. Confident in his ability to evade capture, he played a dangerous game that would soon escalate. Travis sent a map to the authorities detailing the location of one of his victims' bodies, believing he was outsmarting the detectives. But this arrogance would soon backfire when they traced the map back to him via his IP address. When the police arrived at his doorstep with a search warrant, they had no idea what horrors awaited them inside. As they stepped through the threshold of his home, the atmosphere thickened with tension. In the basement, the officers discovered bloodstains, evidence of multiple victims who had suffered unimaginable fates. The grim reality of Travis' actions began to unfold before their eyes, painting a chilling picture of his violent past. But in a moment of arrogance, Travis slipped up. When shown the photos of his victims, he unknowingly revealed intricate details about their deaths, details that no innocent man should have known. This careless mistake would prove to be a pivotal moment in the investigation, as detectives began to piece together the horrifying puzzle of his crimes. The walls were closing in on Travis, and the game he played with law enforcement was about to come to a harrowing end. As the investigation deepened, it became clear that the truth behind Maury Travis' facade was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. In his final encounter with the law, Maury Travis found himself in an intense interrogation that would determine his fate. Desperate to maintain control, he attempted to manipulate the conversation, but the detectives were relentless, pressing harder for the truth. With every question, the tension in the room escalated. Travis' confidence began to waver as the evidence mounted against him. Bloodstains from his victims, chilling videos of his heinous acts, and witness testimonies that left no doubt of his guilt. As the detectives unraveled the disturbing evidence, the complete picture of his monstrous actions became clear. No longer could Travis hide behind the mask of a quiet neighbor. His true nature had been exposed. The legacy of fear he left behind transformed the narrative of his life. No longer remembered as a quiet boy from Street Louis, Travis became a terrifying figure etched into the annals of crime history, his name synonymous with horror and violence. In the end, Maury Travis' story serves as a grim reminder of the darkness that can lie beneath the surface, forever haunting the communities he once called home.